CM Punk and Kevin Owens is our main event, and it is happening relatively early in, into the evening here, or at least the entrances are. So we start things off here. Punk has a custom old school goalie mask in a Black Hawks colors that he's wearing to the ring. Punk, of course, invites a lot of boos simply from what he is wearing, and he gets them during the announcements. Owens takes control early in the beginning, and Punk basically works this entire match as a heel.
Yeah.
So, Punk sells like a heel in the match. He acts like a heel. When Owens teases the announce desk spot by taking the shield cover off, Punk simply comes out and puts the shield back on to block the spot from happening. Stunner is countered by Punk's neck breaker, and this begins Punk, working on Kevin Owens' weakened neck throughout the match. Heel Punk controls throughout the break. We come back. And, despite all their efforts, there are certainly still CM Punk fans in attendance as we get a pretty 50-50 dueling chant here partway through. Owens comes back with what is described as a cathartic series of stomps here as he comes back. And he throws up the Punk X before delivering a crotch chop and then his cannonball. Owens goes for the swanton. Punk rolls out of the ring and looks very proud of himself for avoiding it, but ends up getting super kicked onto the announce table anyway. Owens frog splashes Punk from the barricade through the announce table back in. He finally delivers his swanton for a 2 count, getting a very big crowd reaction. Punk then starts teasing the crowd, saying, "I don't know why you're booing me. Y'all haven't won anything since 1967.
One for John there.
Yeah,
that's his line.
Which is entirely true if you're not counting baseball and the NBA Finals, of course. Punk throws back the crotch chop as he goes for the diving elbow, follows up with the Anaconda Vice without any sort of notable shout out to Tenzan or anything. Just does it. It's his move now. Punk targets Owens' surgically repaired neck with repeated neck breakers, getting more boos. Owens lands on his feet from a GTS attempt and applies the sharpshooter as Punk struggles, eventually getting to the ropes. Owens lands on his feet from a GTS attempt, and then they go for each other's finishers, which results in 2 ref bumps. Owens then hits the stunner for the visual pin. Punk then hits the GTS for his own visual, and at this point, out comes Sami Zayn as he drives Punk's head into the post. Owens has not seen Zayn's interference, so he's able to take advantage by delivering a stunner. Sami then brings the ref back in, but 1, 2, the ref kicks out. Zayn then slides the title in for Owens to use. Owens has the title, and of course he hesitates and ultimately decides to not use it. He says, "Not this time, not like this." Sami instead decks KO with the title. Punk delivers the GTS, and the referee counts the 3. CM Punk retains in Toronto.
Yeah. A long match. I thought actually a pretty good one for television in particular. They both worked really hard at this. The intensity was from Kevin, I think, in particular, was absolutely there. Punk worked really hard as well, and he was every inch the old school heel. He all but kind of when he dodging. The only thing he didn't really do was like point to his head about how clever he is. He was really giving it the old school sort of heel stuff here. He thought, I'm going into the territory where they're going to boo me. I'm going to play up to that, right? From, as you say, wearing his rival hockey mask, on the entrance. I feel though the crowd, like you said, I expected them to be absolute, nearly 70 to 80%. For Kevin here. I think by the end of the match they maybe were, but there were Punk fans here. I mean, right from them singing his song, you're going to get that no matter where he goes. I think.
Toronto's a town that reacts big to superstars, and Punk is the biggest star on the show. I mean, maybe even more so than Cody. Yeah,
you did get that moment when Sami had interfered in Kevin's favor, Kevin not knowing any of this, posting Punk, then rolling him back in and then rolling the ref in, where it's the 2.99 spot that the crowd are biting on this being the finish at this point. But that's I think when everybody in the building and everyone at home realizes Punk is definitely retaining, because that was the big near fall of the match. But I think I said last week the the point of this is, get something really substantial going that keeps story going and doesn't end in the crowd chanting bullshit at the end. They went off air before we could really test that. But I think they achieved it. And what we have is, I like Sami. I've made no secret of that over the weeks. I like that he's still hovering in this main event scene. It looks like Sami and KO are on a collision course here. But I also think that Kevin and Punk has more legs to it. I've read some reporting this week that this was pegged to be a one and done match. I think it was Dave over at The Observer that had that. I'm not 100% sure. I think that would be a very weird way to go if Kevin was to immediately just completely turn his attention to Sami, and because he did get the visual pin, he did get kind of screwed here, and if Punk is a babyface, he should really be okay with another with giving Kevin another go and continuing this program.
Yeah, I see a three-way being built up here. At the end of the segment here, we've got Sami Zayn attacking Punk with the title again. He also attacks Owens again, and then he stands tall, saying, "You stole this from me. This is justice." As Zayn gets booed loudly in Toronto after screwing up this fine matchup here. So, I mean, I personally see them like building to a three-way, maybe for Money in the Bank. Could it be for Saturday night's main event? I suppose it's possible, but I feel like at this point we've got like, how many matches do we have? Orton, Cody, then we've got Braun and like Oba. We've got the Trick Yachty thing with Corbin. Like that's already 3. And I might be missing something else already. Anyway, so I don't really see, if they are building to a three-way, I don't see Punk necessarily wrestling on that show. But like for Money in the Bank, a three-way with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, I can certainly see it. Both have now arguments for the match, right? And the dynamic would, I think it would be interesting enough. But this match tonight, I thought they delivered very much on the big fight feel and gave you enough of a match to leave you feel satisfied before all the shenanigans that got them out of it. And, built to like a really strong near fall, as you mentioned, with Sami Zayn coming in. And I felt like, it was fun to watch Punk play a pure heel. And I certainly don't think that'll be the case, whenever they have their next match. But for tonight, it was the right call. And I thought it made for a pretty special and clearly very successful main event on top of this card.
I think so too. Yeah, this could have been on a PLE, a B-level PLE, and furthering this feud. It was that good a match. Commercial breaks notwithstanding, it was lengthy. They were, as I said, there was no lack of effort by either of these guys who really put an awful lot into it. And this program continues. I apologize, Wade, for stepping over your Sami belt shots at the end and his.
You didn't step over. I gave you the pause, and you provided
the finale of this actual show. A three-way looks like it could well be on the cards, because Kevin clearly will now want to get his hands on Sami, as well as feel that he's absolutely been screwed out of a proper title opportunity.
Yeah. Then maybe after that you get your Kevin and Sami match, because I certainly don't see either of them beating Punk in that match.
We are wrapping up the summer big on the Post Wrestling Cafe as John Pollock and Neil Flanagan are flying to London, England for live on-the-ground coverage of AEW All in London. Also this month, we conclude our reviews of Dark Side of the Ring and WWE Unreal Season 3, reviews of ROH's Death Before Dishonor and TNA Lockdown. Rewind Away will cover the WWF Aggression album, and Book Club will cover Total Nonstop Agony by Vince Russo. Sign up now at postwrestlingcafe.com.